It's a great day to talk hockey with Grant McCagg on Habscast.
Back in the playoffs, baby. Cheers. Cheers, Rick. Here's to Kirill Kaprizov, this hat trick. I was watching the game. I saw, oh, shoot, Detroit's come back here. But then Kaprizov with like a minute and a bit left. Beautiful shot. Boom. Top corner. There we go. Habs are in. Yeah, that's the main takeaway from today. I mean, oh, well. 6 games in nine nights, right? Yeah. 5-game road trip. First game back. Clinched the playoffs. So, then, there's that comfort level. And home after a 5-game win streak where they didn't lose. This was predictable that there'd be a little letdown the first game back. Trying a little too hard to get Cole's 50th goal, perhaps too, right? Cole gripping the stick a little too tight. I've never seen him fan on like four golden opportunities like that before. Trying a little too hard. And hey, this who cares? It's not bothering me at all. They were going to lose. Might as well be now. Get it out. Still 5 games left or 4. Is it 4 or 5? 5.
5, I think.
5 games to get friggin' that. Cole is 50th. Slap is 30th. Just chalk this one up. Who cares? They're in the playoffs. That's the main thing. It doesn't matter who they play. Buffalo, the way they've been playing, hey, so if they finish 3rd and they play Buffalo, that's fine. Buffalo, friggin' Montreal's like the best road team, second best road team in the league this year. So if they don't have home ice advantage, maybe that's almost a good thing. The way the Habs are playing at home, they're like the 8th best team in the East at home this year. Like, whatever the pressure at home, maybe starting on the road wouldn't be a terrible thing anyway. And it doesn't matter who they play. It really doesn't. I've been down that road before where you try to pick who your opponent is, and it never works because the playoffs are unpredictable. No team's running away with, and if they play a team that's below them in the standings, well, they're only below them by a few points, so they're not really favored anyway in that either. So it doesn't matter. The important thing is that they made the playoffs, and they've got a few games to spare here. They can rest a few guys. I think Matheson's going to get some time off here. I would sit him out a game or two. I'd call up Reinbacher, give him a look. Hage is going to come in for the last couple of games of the year. I'm sure they'll give him a look and they'll rest Gallagher, I hope, for one. And, I thought Gallagher wouldn't play tonight, but I guess they didn't really have anybody. They're clearly not going to give Line another look. So I guess they had no choice, but Texier's not ready, I guess, either. But, it's the important thing is that they made the playoffs today. I'm not this game doesn't bother me at all. I'm completely ecstatic that the Canadiens are going to be playing hockey in late April again.
That's what I think today is what's important. We also have to remember, you mentioned it, 5 games and 9 nights is brutal, and most of them on the road with a lot of travel. And they're 8-2 in the last 10 games, which is best in the league right now. Everybody knows they're not going to win every single game. And tonight's game also, once in a while, we can give a little bit of credit to the opponent. And man, New Jersey played a tight defensive game. They didn't give anything. The sticks were in the way. They blocked shots like crazy. The goaltending was good, and the Habs didn't play a horrible game. They just were tight, and they looked tired, and you could tell they were tired. I think Slavkovsky a little bit, and Demidov a few ill-timed decisions with making hard passes that shouldn't have been tried sometimes here and there. But nothing dramatic, nothing that's horrible, but just a little bit of fatigue and an opponent playing a good game. And that's all that happened, and that's perfectly fine. It's an acceptable way to lose a game that, under the circumstances, is understandable.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Cappy's not, Cappy turning over pucks again more at, somebody saying, my boy Cappy. Look, he's not my boy. He's nobody's boy. I just happened to predict that he would be the second line center this year. So whatever. I'm fully aware that he's not, like if you're going to single out fucking Kapanen on the power play, like, come on, like his job isn't to be the puck control guy in there. That's why they need Hage in there. And that's why Gallagher shouldn't be anywhere near. Like, if you're going to talk about a guy that shouldn't be on it, don't be talking Kapanen. His game isn't puck control. It's getting to the open spots. It's shooting. He's a goal scorer. And, singling out Kapanen on that second unit, there's not a single player that's playing well on the second unit. So Cappy's just happens to be struggling right now a bit. And you know what? After 78 games in a season where he's set a record, tied a record with Jacques Lemaire for most goals by a Habs center, I don't have an issue with it that he struggled. Better that he struggles a little bit here when it doesn't matter, because tonight didn't matter, than in the playoffs. And I've seen him step up big in playoffs in multiple leagues over the past 3 years, and I'm positive that he'll do it again. But if you're going to talk about somebody that needs to be off the power play altogether, the second power play, it's Brendan Gallagher. Signaling out Kapanen is just silly, because at least he can shoot the friggin' puck. Gallagher can't even shoot the puck anymore. And they need Michael Hage on that second unit. They need a guy that can move the puck, that will get it to Kapanen, get it to Bolduc, get it to them in their open spots, and take advantage of their quick releases and hard shots. Cappy almost had a couple more goals tonight. He's getting the chances. He's just, Markstrom made a great, probably the best save of the night, the one off Cappy in the slot. And last game too, Kapanen should have won it in overtime and another great save. So even though he is struggling with the puck, and I will agree with that at times, he's still getting good chances. He's still playing pretty solid defensive hockey, and I'm not too worried about Kapanen. There's worse things to worry about than signaling him out for a couple of games where he's turned over some pucks. But anyway, it's easy. A couple of games, whatever. Geez, everyone's cranky tonight. You made the playoffs tonight, guys. Settle down. Like, who cares that they had a bad game? Excuses, Grant. Yeah, they played 5 games in 9 nights, 6 games. Yeah, it's an excuse. You don't think that's an excuse? Come on, guys. Cheer up here. We're in the playoffs. Get all cranky because you lost 1 game after winning 9 straight, 8 straight. Come on.
Yeah. It was not an embarrassing effort. Like it's not like New Jersey won like 7-0 either. It was basically a 2-0 game, and an empty net goal. That's all it was. And it's not like New Jersey took 40 shots on nets either. I think they had 20 barely. If did they even hit the 20 shot mark tonight? Wasn't that far. So it was not an embarrassing performance by the Habs, but. Boy, you got to give them a break. Everybody could have a bad game here and there. Every single team has one, and tonight was not the best. But again, considering the context of how many games,
excuses, Rick.
It's excuses.
They're supposed to win. They're supposed to win 82 games. Don't come up with excuses. There's no excuse. They got to win every game. What's going on here? Come on, guys. Lighten up. We won the friggin' game. We're in the playoffs for the second straight time for the first time in 12 years. The first time in 12 years the Canadiens finished top 8 in their conference. Sorry, Rick, for cutting you off, but I just,
No.
I'm just like people. Why, are Hab fans so like the glass is friggin' half empty? They just made the playoffs. I don't care that they lost tonight. It doesn't matter. Kaprizov, cheers to Kaprizov. He freaking got us in the playoffs tonight. Yay!
Well, I watched the game, Grant. I was watching the end of that game, and if we're going to give a cheers to Kaprizov, let's give a little cheers to Patrick Kane, who got a god-awful penalty.
Oh, yeah.
The game that led
he had tied the game too, so I'm not,
Okay, all right.
He had tied the game up too, so I'm not going to blame it all on Kane, but Kaprizov earned his $17 million tonight, baby. Yes. He earned every cent of it tonight.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kirill Kaprizov. Connor Brown. You know what? Like, I saw him in Ottawa back in the day.
Yeah.
The most underrated penalty killer in the league. The guy is just phenomenal on the penalty kill. He always has been. He scores a lot of shorthanded goals. Back in Ottawa, he did. Here, him, Hischier and Brown on the friggin' penalty kill. They're awesome.
Good.
They're awesome on the penalty kill. They didn't give the Habs any room to maneuver. They were awesome on the power play or on the penalty kill tonight. And as you say, they got to get some credit. They, New Jersey played well. They were really since the second half of yesterday's game and tonight. I think they're 16-3-2 now against the Habs in their last 21.
Yes.
They're good. They lost yesterday, but they still got a point. 16-3-2. Oh, so they still got our number. It's Jack Hughes can't seem to slowed him down a little bit there with the double Dion or whatever. I guess it's a reverse double Dion when two guys hit one, but
on Happy Days, the Marachi Crunch. I don't know if you remember that.
No, I don't. No,
it was on Happy Days. You'd probably get the reference on that show, but it's that's the idea.
Yeah, pathetic game by the Habs. Yeah, well, I'm not worried. I'm really not, guys. Let's just let's be positive tonight. All right. After 8 wins, we can't complain. The game allowed the team to identify a few areas to improve. Well, that's the way I look at it. Like,
that's great. That's a good call.
Yeah, like I don't know. I want Doc back in the lineup, and I'd like to see Hage. And tonight was a good example. If the top line isn't going, and that second line, I'm still not happy with it. And if it's got to be Cappy that moves, well, it's Cappy that moves. Something's got to happen with that second line. They're not meshing right now. Get Doc on there, get Hage on there, get both of them on there, whatever the case may be. I hope Doc's back this week. Get him some games in. Rest some of the vets. I'd like to see Reinbacher called up for a couple of games and give him a look. Engstrom probably gets in, though, instead. Like, they'll likely, since he's called up, they'll likely play Engstrom, sit Matheson. I'd sit Matheson a couple of games here down the stretch. I don't think it matters that much where they end up here, as long as it's top three. And right now it looks like, unless they lose the next two or something, then it's in danger. But Boston's on a bit of a skid now too, so they're likely going to be in one of the top three spots. I don't think you go too crazy trying to, get one of the top three spots when at the end of the day, I really don't think it matters that much where they end up finishing.
But I think part of the problem too on the second line right now, and I'm still gonna harp on it is I don't think Newhook fits in very well on that line. As well as he's been playing and he's been trying hard and making things happen, he's not a puck possession guy. He
I know.
scores off the rush. He does stuff off the rush, and with Demidov's capacity and willingness and an ability to hold on to the puck and try to create stuff, it just doesn't work. I still think that right now, with the roster they have right now, I would switch him and Bodzuk up and use Bodzuk. I know he hasn't had any success scoring goals right now, but on that line, I think he might have more opportunities until Doc comes back, and or even Texier, but somebody who could hold on to the puck, stick handle,
Yeah,
move, have a little bit of peripheral vision because it's lacking sorely. And right now, what we're seeing is Demidov getting into the zone. Kapanen tried to look open, but the defense could really just center around those two guys. And Newhook, it's a little bit more difficult. He
true.
doesn't see options very quickly. He doesn't have that great peripheral vision, and he has trouble kind of finding his way on that line. So that would be
Yeah.
the only thing I'd like to see right now with the lineup they have currently. And again, if Doc comes back, he's the guy put on that line. I think you were right this morning about that.
Yeah. Well, Cappy and Demidov have been together all year. And when they were with Slav, for the most part, they were quite successful. At times with Newhook earlier in the year, but I agree. Like, Cap's not a puck possession guy, and, for the most part. Still, like, when he gets the puck and he's got a little room, smart plays, he makes the right passes, very smart. Newhook, no, he doesn't make the right passes necessarily, and he's not a puck possession guy. Doc is, Hage is, Texier is to a certain degree. I'd like all three of those instead of Newhook with Kapanen and Demidov. And as I said earlier today, they don't play like second line minutes anyways. So, even if it's Hage that's on that line,
it's fine.
They're getting the same amount of ice time or less than the Evans line every night. So it's not like you're saying, oh, well, you're putting Hage in the second line and that's too much for him. Well, not if they're playing 12 minutes, which is what's been happening most nights anyways. So, and especially, home games, like you can get them matched up against bottom two lines instead of, always being out against other teams' top two lines, which invariably keeps happening with them. It's a lot to ask for two rookies to every night to be playing up against other teams' top lines, but they've done it the majority of the year and done it well. But, New Jersey was on the Habs hard tonight. They good sticks, and Cappy didn't have room. And when he doesn't have room, like the last two games, he has struggled. He has struggled turning over pucks, losing pucks. And it's the one part of his game that needs the most work. And he's a rookie in the league. As he gets accustomed to the speed and the how quick players get on him, that part of his game I expect to improve. But it is the one area that I will acknowledge that he needs the most improvement on. And if it doesn't come, he ultimately will be a third line guy. But he's played second line center on a 100-point team as a rookie. Bottom line, and we can be critical about a couple of games and the bit of struggles lately, but big picture, the guy's overachieved this year, and I'm proud of what he's done, including scoring the the game winner last night, the shootout, which is not. If he doesn't, they don't clinch today too. So he's part of the reason why they clinched over the last 24 hours. And again, Montreal's in the playoffs. Let's try to keep this positive. I'd rather not have the timeline filled with complaints about who didn't play well tonight and how I had a guy on Twitter, how Marty's got to go and what a dummy he is and all that, commenting like come on here. Like,
Yeah, be
you
real.
know, like 5 straight years of improvement. And the NHL record's 7 or something like that. 5 straight years that they've had points improvement. And I wouldn't doubt that next year they do again. And with the second youngest team in the league, they're a 100-point team, 4 points out of first in their conference. So,
Right.
you know, at the end of the day, Marty's, yeah, sometimes I harp on usage about this or that, but do I think in any regard that Marty St. Louis doing a crappy job overall? Absolutely not.
No, and I do want to pinpoint something out too, because I know the criticism. I understand the criticism of Kapanen and his, the way he holds onto the puck and some of the mistakes he made. And if you notice, a few of them happened later on in the game, especially the last 5 minutes. But let's not forget that the Habs were not playing the same way as they usually would at this point, right? They're trying to get back into the game. They've had no goals. They're doing a little bit more boom or bust decisions. It's normal that it's going to be a little bit more sloppy. I mean, Lane was a little bit more sloppy at that point of the game, but again, it's because you're kind of going boom or bust now. Like, let's just try it and hope it succeeds. At this point, we have nothing left to lose. I don't think they would have, either one of them would have made those decisions the same way with 10 minutes into the game. They were just trying a little bit harder. And again, New Jersey was really good, not giving them a lot of opportunities and really closing in on them. And that's part of the things you saw. The mistakes were partly that is just forcing plays because you're kind of desperate and it's like taking out it's like putting on an extra man. You're going to just try more things because you're losing anyways.
Right. No, exactly. Mr. Paul, I came to the Bell Center to see Caulfield's 50th and instead got Markstrom's first shutout of the season. Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, I hear you, man. Like when you pay, you pay the big bucks there, and
I understand.
I get it, but and I'm glad as ultimately because I had been invited by Stu from McLean's Pub, but then he realized that his partner had given away tickets. But he said, "Do you want to come down to the game Sunday?" And I thought I was coming down. So I'm glad at the end of the day that I didn't go down for that stinker, for that clunker. Not, getting shut out at home, and you're anticipating maybe Slav gets his 30th and maybe Caulfield gets his 50th and they get shut out instead. I'm glad I didn't, spend $80 in gas to drive to Montreal and back, and or whatever it's going to cost me now. It's freaking almost double. I paid $109 like 2 months ago, and it's $189 now here, and I think it's over $2 in Montreal. The Stu.
It was $202, I think, today, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. Well, so things happen for a reason. I didn't, thank you, Stu, for canceling on the invite, and that I didn't have to go down to, because I would have been disappointed if I'd have gone down to see that clunker. A little disappointing, although, I mean, it would have been nice to go to just to congratulate the team for making the playoffs, because that is the important thing out of this whole today. You got to encapsulate the whole day and come to the realization the most important thing is, for the second straight year, the Montreal Canadiens are going to the playoffs, Rick.
Yes. And they're playing well. Again, today was not the best game, but generally they've been playing well. They're improving as the season goes along. The team finally has reliable goaltending. They have 2 reliable goaltenders right now, which is even better. And they hopefully some of the injured players will be back. So they're getting into the playoffs in a good vibe, in a good situation, with a little bit of experience too. Don't forget, it was a short playoff last year, but for a lot of them, it was their first playoff experience. They have a little bit of an idea of what to expect. So, boy, I mean, we're not guaranteeing the results, but we feel good about what's happening right now around the team. And I think I think they're going to come into the playoffs strong, and I think a lot of teams do not want to face the Habs. I mean, we worry about who the Habs are going to face. I think a lot of teams don't want to face the Habs too. It doesn't. It's not a one-way street, folks. People are worried about this taking on this team.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Check this out from last night, Rick. Audio Murphy, $100 donation. It just floored me. It was like I was looking at it said $100. Oh, that's got to be like pesos or like what the hell. Anyway, thank you again last night, Audio Murphy, for that most pleasant donation. I couldn't have been happier about that.
That's amazing.
Donnie, he's been fantastic with the. You're more than generous, Don. Thank you so much for these continued donations that you give. $10 again. It's more than generous. Thank you so much, and thank you everybody that we've got like almost 4,000 people that watched our video earlier today, Rick. We did a show this morning and 3,700 or something have looked at it already. 3,800. Well, I mean, Rick, right? When Rick's on, he's just, the star attraction, right? So good stuff that we're getting such good numbers, and the playoffs are going to be fantastic. This is going to be a great month. I have a great feeling about not only for the Habs cast, but for Habs fans. Relax about tonight. This was going to happen. You get spoiled, right? You go 8 straight wins and shut out at home. Caulfield not scoring a goal, like you get used to things, right? And so it was bound to happen, and better now than in the playoffs. I don't want to see them shut out in the playoffs, Now get it out of the system. They weren't going to win the rest of the games and go 16-0 in the playoffs as much as we have liked it, but it's all good. And I think people are, like, take it easy, Habs fans. We won 8 straight. The boys were tired. We can see that Grant Cappy is our guy. Well, I'm the first to admit that he has been struggling lately, and I did not expect a perfect year from him. I did not even expect him to play second line center all year, and he has. And I didn't expect him to score 20 goals, and he has. And so at the end of the day, it's all good. And I'm not professing that he's going to be the second line center forever. I see things that tell me, Michael Hage definitely is a better puck possession guy. And maybe down the line, if he can put together everything, maybe he's the second line center for the Habs down the road. I'm not discounting anything. I do know that Cappy came in this year. They needed a second line center. He's done the job admirably, and they're a 100-point team with him centering the second line as a rookie with another rookie. And, at the end of the day, again, that's what's important. And, GJG, he's a happy man. Big Flyers fan. Flyers are in it now, man. They won again. I had a buddy said, that's a Flyers fan. I said, so you still think they're not going to make the playoffs? Nope, he said. Porter Martone with the winner tonight.
Wow.
Look at that. Sens Flyers now, and Islanders Red Wings out. Islanders have played 78. Obviously, they're looking for a boost with Peter DeBoer. Signed a 4-year contract. I mean, I was surprised that he hadn't been hired up till now, Rick.
Yeah.
But, he's back in for another 4 years. Like, he's taken what? How many franchises he taken to the Cup final? Like, I think it was 3. Was it not?
I think it was 3. And I was hearing reading some of the stuff they were saying about it. I think one of the reasons Patrick was fired is because they wanted to get Peter DeBoer on before he signs elsewhere. No, he was identified as the guy, and they said if we don't do it now and we don't sign him now during the summer, another team will offer him an opportunity, and we might lose the guy that we really want. And that was one of the reasons, and also the fact that they need a boost, I think, for the playoffs. They gave up a lot to get Chen, and they've made moves that, for a team that was supposed to be rebuilding, they kind of took a step back in that aspect to try to make the playoffs now. Well, you kind of have to succeed now because if you sacrifice your future and you don't even make the playoffs after that, big step back there. That's not. It's got to be one or the other for the Islanders. So I think in that sense, there's some logic behind it. And we'll have to. Everybody's doing great. I think Columbus just fell apart. They lost 5 in a row now, and they're kind of taking them right out of it right now. So they're kind of done.
Yeah. GJG, the Flyer fan, happy Easter to all. I'm flying on cloud 9 right now. Well, hey, congrats to 2 weeks ago, you would not have, the Flyers were about 13th, 12th or 13th, and you thought,
oh yeah,
they're done. But, that's why when there's only 4-point spread, a team can get in, even if they have to hop over 3 or 4. And kudos to them for being able to get back in the race. And right now, I mean, it's not, it's by no means over here, but the Flyers now, they've got 5 games left, 90 points. Certainly Detroit, look at Columbus, 1 point in their last 5. Detroit, 2 points in their last 5. So they're reeling, and it's looking a lot better for the Flyers now. Good for them. Islanders, we'll see. As far as, Montreal, 100 points. 2 back at Tampa. Tampa's got a game in hand. They'll obviously have to beat Tampa that game that they play against them if they hope to, Buffalo, 6 more wins than Montreal. I would presume that they are probably 3rd now. They don't update these really well in that regard. They got to have more regulation wins, I think, than Montreal, Buffalo.
Yeah.
Seeing that they have 6 more wins.
No, they're definitely it.
So they've got second place back, I guess, at this point. But a lot can happen here, folks, and we'll see. But getting back to what you were saying about Patty Roy, he wasn't Darsh's guy, right? Like Darsh didn't hire him, so that's his prerogative to make a change. And they'd been reeling, and he probably talked to a couple of the leaders on the team, and that one time out that they showed of Patty talking to the team when he took it early, they were down 2-0, and they looked like they were maybe a little tuned out, right? The writing was probably on the wall that there could be a move here. I think in a year when the East is so wide open, teams are thinking, well, why not? And then you saw what Vegas did. They did it. They changed things up with the team reeling. And I guess Darsh just said, look, I want DeBoer anyway. Like you say, he's available. Obviously, he wasn't happy with Patty Waugh, or he wouldn't have fired him, right?
Yeah.
So it was twofold. It was twofold. Like he wanted DeBoer. Patty, if Patty would have got the team into the playoffs, if they'd have stayed like 4th or 5th and done okay in the playoffs, then he probably would have stayed with him. But they wanted DeBoer ultimately, and who knows what's going on behind the scenes. Patty can be a little bit of a volatile character, and they may not have been getting along, and who knows. Like the people that are criticizing Darsh for doing it, you don't know what all's been going on behind the scenes. So I'm sure in Matthew Darsh's mind, it was justified to to be doing this at this time. Easter Sundays are kind of a, funny day to be doing it, but, I mean, I hope Patty's not too religious,
No,
but anyway,
no.
it's done, and we'll see if the Isles can see if it can spark them in their last 4 or 5 games of the season. I guess they got 4 left. Yeah.
Oh,
And they're a point out, so I mean it can go either way. Sens win 6-3 tonight. They're back in a playoff spot. Hey, I live in Ottawa. I'd like to see Ottawa in there. Just the city is just a little more vibrant. It's good for the city. It's my city. I'm not a Senators fan per se, but Tina is, and when the Habs don't win, I don't mind seeing the Sens do okay. So I hope the Sens make it. And I still I'm giving out hope that Columbus somehow sneaks in. And for our friend JGJ there, maybe the Flyers too. So
yes, we want our listeners to be happy. And I like the city of Ottawa. I love the people there. It's always a fun place to go. And boy, if Ottawa could make the playoffs, and my friends in Ottawa have a fun playoff, I'd like to see them make it all the way up to the maybe the conference final, but not anything more than that. After that, it's got to come to an end. Sorry, but that's just the way it is.
right.
And it's also been such a crappy year for Ottawa with so many controversies in the last year around the team. It'd be nice to have a positive vibe for everybody involved. I think that's really important. And the fact of the matter is, on paper, this should be a good team. I really love their center. The centers are really, really good. They have a nice group of centers, and they have a really good top 4 at defense. And they have a goaltender who struggled, but if he could be the goaltender he should be, Ottawa's a good team. They have everything. They have a lot going for them.
Yeah, for sure. Uh-oh. Battery is running low. Oh, there we go. Whew. Wouldn't have wanted to lose you there. You'd have had to run the show for 5 minutes there, Rick. You're fully capable of doing it, though. This game for the Habs wasn't good for the Flyers. Montreal will not be sitting anyone for that last game, since they might be fighting for first in division now. I don't know about that, Ken. I still think that the thing that matters is resting some guys that, the 25, 28-minute guys for a game or two, like Matheson and stuff. I think they're going to rest a couple of guys regardless. You can still win a game without Matheson in the lineup. You can still win. It's only the Flyers, right? GJG? No, I'm kidding. I don't think. Yeah, you'd like to. First of all, I don't know that they'll be fighting for a playoff spot, or it might already be decided, because they don't win on tiebreakers. So it may not matter in that regard, but if it does, I'm still not 100%. I think the last couple of games that some guys get rested. What do you think, Rick?
Well, I think the guys are going to. First of all, we need to know who's playing with injuries right now. Not because they're even if the guys who are in the lineup might be battling injury situations that we're not aware of because they haven't missed any games. So we know there's a really good chance that Anderson is going to miss a game here and there if they make the playoffs, because he was recently hurt and it didn't look like he's fully back yet. And I would assume Matheson might miss a game, but it also depends the guys who are on the injury list right now who comes back, right? If Carrier won't be back, so that's one thing right there. But if Doc and Texier are not ready to be back by the time the regular season is over, I think resting guys might be a little bit difficult. They need to get a few of those guys back too. And also in Laval, we don't know what the situation is about when do they start the playoffs. I'm not sure of the dates and what their injury situation is. So there's a lot to manage. But I would think, again, a guy like Matheson, I think they'd like to give him a day off. And definitely Anderson and Gallagher will miss games if they can, and even maybe a Dano or Evans. It's going to be mostly those guys because obviously he's not going to take off Suzuki for a game, not in the middle of an Ironman streak, and it's not going to be one of the young guys. So it's going to be one of the veterans that are going to play the hard minutes. I really think Henderson is going to be one of the guys who's going to miss at least one game, if not two. Because when the playoff starts and it gets physical, they're going to rely on him a whole lot. So they need him to be really recovered and not dragging any injuries around, because he won't last long if he's carrying injuries, especially not at his age where it's starting to catch up to him at this point of his career.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think Anderson is definitely one that'll sit out. I don't know. I think Matheson, being the elder statesman on the blue line and playing 25 minutes a game, wouldn't doubt if he sits out a couple, and like I say, Engstrom gets in and give him a couple of games if he's still up with the team and stuff. But yeah, we'll see. And I think Hage will get a look. I'm pretty sure they'll be signing him, and the deal will be that he plays the last two games, which we saw with Farrell, which we saw with Demidov, which we saw with Hudson when he came up, right? He, the deal was, okay, we'll sign, but you burn the first year he plays. He signs the NHL. He signs to play with the team this year, and we'll see that with Hage. I'm quite confident. Casanova, much as I like Montreal's improvement over year over year, I'm confident no matter who they play, they won't get past first round, and happy if they see 7 games. Yeah. And then somebody, the last 8 games coming into this one didn't give you any indication of what the Habs are capable of. Yeah, well, Casanova was quiet for 8 games, and now after they've lost one, he's comes in to let us know that, see, these guys can't win. Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, yeah, theoretically, they could lose in 4 games in the playoffs. Everybody gets us. You could get a slump at a bad time. But if I look at the makeup of the team, why can't they do a few rounds? I think they got a lot going for them, and it's not a totally finished product. I know, because of the youth of the team and how much they need to gain that playoff experience for a lot of them who are playing big roles. But they got a lot going for them to assume that they're going to lose in less than 7 games. Again, you could be right, but this team could also go a few rounds. They're that good. I mean, both things are equally possible, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, they could win in 4 too. But Casanova tells Ken, take the rose-colored glasses off, Ken. I remain realistic with results over the year, not a one-time 8-game streak. Yeah, well, Casanova, even before this 8-game streak, they're in the playoffs, buddy. And just a few points out of first in the freaking conference, even before this 8-game streak. So, we may have rose-colored glasses on, but you've got blinders on. So, I'd rather have rose-colored glasses because you can at least see through them. What's that?
So you're right. A good one. But it's 100 points. Like it's this doesn't happen through a short streak. Like, you don't play 8 games really well and go from 40 points to 100. It's not the math doesn't work, So the Eastern Conference is also a very good one compared to the Western Conference, and they still managed to make 100 points. So I can't agree. And if you want to even add a little bit more, they lost a lot of points due to bad goaltending for around 3 months of the season. So I don't know, man. It's I don't think it's rose-colored glasses. I think it's optimistic, but realistic optimistic.
Well, I mean, I've seen a lot of comments from Buffalo Sabres fans the last week, and they're saying like we're not winning. There's no way we're winning a first-round series. Like, so the way they played lately, it's fallen apart for them. So, they're a team that hasn't played in the playoffs for 15 years. The Habs have the experience of playing in the playoffs last year. If they face a Buffalo team full of players that never have seen an NHL playoff game in their career, who's to say they're going to beat us? You don't know. You don't know that. So anyway, Casanova, it's an opinion, and you might be right. They might not win, but to be emphatic about it and say, I know, and, take off the road, like, there's no rose-colored glasses. The club was in the playoffs before this 8-game streak. It's stronger. They're in a stronger position. People aren't saying that the Habs are going to win because they had an 8-game streak. They're saying they're going to win because they had key injuries for a lot of the year. Like they had several guys out, Gooley, Doc, Newhook, like some key pieces for most of the year, and they had shitty goaltending. Well, the goaltending has turned around. Okay, the injured players, I'd say, come playoff time, we'll see. They should have a healthy lineup. Like, unless there's more injuries here, they're going to be healthy. They're going to bring in Hage. The defense has really solidified over the past few weeks, and with having Gooley back is a big part of that. The goaltending, again, is way better than it was. If they had Fowler and Dobish playing like they have the last month all year, take away that 8-game win streak, Casanova, the Habs are first in the conference, let alone, where they are now. So, I've seen the Montreal Canadiens go up against a Toronto team where they were 8th seed and they didn't have a hope in hell, and they were down 3-1 in the series and they beat them. Then they beat Vegas, so you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. Get to the playoffs. They've done that. They're a 100-point team. They're a friggin', maybe Casanova doesn't think they can win, but I'll tell you one thing. There's teams out there that don't want to face them in the first round. I know that for a fact. So I think Dobson should be on the first power play. Guys are giving up too many 2-on-1s. Second power play isn't a big issue. Doesn't get much ice. Well, top 5. The first power play unit's top 5 in the league in goals.
Yeah,
and they haven't given up many shorthanded goals. So end of the day, I wouldn't put Dobson on because you're afraid that they might get a goal scored against them. I think that I wouldn't mess with the top unit right now. Would you, Rick?
No, I wouldn't. I think that the solution does come from, and man, it's always hard to actually say this, but because we respect the guy a lot, but you got to get Gallagher off that line because he's just not quick enough to keep up with the play. He feels like he's always trying to catch up to the play, and it makes it feel like you're basically playing 4-on-4 for too many minutes. You got to put a guy who can handle the puck, who can make plays a little bit. And there's no great solution. I'm not saying that there's anybody in the lineup right now that will be like, oh, that's the guy. He's going to fix everything. But they got to get a Doc back. And if they can't get a Doc back, Texier. And if they can't get Texier and Doc, then, maybe a Balduc would be a better option at this point because you got to be able to keep up with the pace. And it's difficult to see it. I've noticed too a few times, Grant, Gallagher's when the puck is in the defensive zone, sometimes he's hanging a little bit higher towards the blue line, the opponent blue line, and I don't think he's cheating. I just think he's not coming back quick enough to support, and that's where it becomes a problem. And boy, I still think there's some use for Gallagher. I'm not saying that. I still think come playoff time, a guy like him they'll be able to find a role for him, but it's got to be on the fourth line, and it can't be on the special teams anymore. It's just not working in that way.
No, Hage is why. It's why I think Hage is going to be a part of this, and in the playoffs too. I have a feeling. Rick, try. I noticed that and people can maybe comment on it, but there's a little noise with your audio. Maybe go to your settings and switch it to another mic and then switch it back, or do something and see. We'll see if we can fix your little audio issue there. Okay.
Okay.
Your little gear icon. Can you see it?
Yeah.
At the bottom.
To another one. Better.
Okay. Keep talking.
I don't know. I switched it to the same one, but it's a second one with the same company, if you will. So I'm hoping that this is a little bit better.
No, it's still making that noise, but okay. Switch it back to the other one, I guess, and we'll just. It's not terrible or anything. It's just a little noise, but apologies to people.
I might be tapping something with my foot without even paying attention. Maybe I'm sorry about it.
No worries. Buffalo has suspect goaltending. Tampa has been prone to injuries. Boston isn't as talented as the Habs. You're talking like the Habs are bottom feeders. Yeah. Okay, lads. I think they kissed and made up, so it's all good. I don't like people getting too hard on each other here. Habs could win 81 games, and people would still talk about that one loss. Yeah, you're right, James. Fowler didn't have a good start and it rubbed off on the rest of the team. Yeah, Fowler wasn't fantastic tonight. I don't think there's any doubts right now who's going to be the starter to start the playoffs. I think that's been decided, Rick, that it'll be Dobie that's the starter on game one, right? Or Monty. Or Monty, one of the two.
I'm not going to bet too much money that it's going to be Monty. I prefer to keep it.
Oh, okay. Doc, H, and Takshay coming back puts pressure on the other guys to perform. True. H not coming back, but you guys know what I mean. Yeah, well, I knew what you meant. Charles, come on, people. After a fantastic road trip along with Detroit losing earlier, Habs are always going to be flat. Yeah. You just, subconsciously, you've been grinding it out. Every game feels like a must win because you just don't know what could happen. You want to win every game when it's that tight. It's like every game's a playoff game, and they do it on the road, 5 straight wins, come back home, hardly like no time to rest, and the back-to-back after a 5-game road trip, the pressure on everything, talking about getting Cole's 50th goal, and that being a kind of a, like Tina said tonight to me, they're trying too hard to get Cole his 50th goal. And there were a couple of times probably where they overpassed, Slav especially, trying to pass it to Cole to get him 50th, and when maybe another option might have been better suited. But you can't really blame them given that they're in the playoffs, right? And one of the most important things right now for this team, I think, in their minds, is to get Cole that 50th goal.
Yeah, I definitely they're it's on their minds, and it's on everybody's minds, and even the fans tonight were making a little bit of noise, and I think sometimes that was throwing play, that puts the pressure too on the players. Like you see that in at home, right, when they're yelling shoot all the time, and the players are thinking it's not time to shoot, but you feel that pressure a little bit to do so. And to Cole's credit, though, he's kind of using it to his advantage by making a lot of good passes, though. So, because he doesn't have that when he does get the puck, I think they're covering him. No, because the opponent knows that Montreal are going to try to give Cole that 50th goal too. So they're playing Cole a little tighter. So I think he's using the opportunity to try to be a little bit more creative on his passing game, which is always a good thing because it gives him a little bit more options as players have to adapt. But yeah, I think I really thought Slav was the one to me who stood out the most as trying to feed Cole as much as possible. And interestingly enough, I thought a few times Demidov was maybe shooting him when he should have been passing. He has a tendency when he does shoot to try to make low percentage shots. It's like, no, not this time. No, we want you to shoot more often, Ivan. Just not this time.
Yeah, right. No, that's right. Yeah. Casanova decided to get off the topic there. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. What are your thoughts on teams with 81 points in the West getting into playoffs? Oh, I think they'd beat Montreal, though, eh, Casanova? What do you think, Rick?
We're going to be good.
Wouldn't stand a chance. No, just kidding, Casanova. I don't. I think I don't think a lot of it's been the other way around a lot of times where it's
Yeah,
been the East that
exactly.
had the teams making it that would have made it in the West. So what goes around comes around. Cyclical like anything else, and I don't. You know, I don't have a big issue with it.
No,
If the teams played even amount of games in each conference, maybe it'd be a bit more. But since teams play most like against each other mostly all the time too, that has something to do with it not being as pertinent. You know, what I have an issue with is just the. I wish they just play 1-8, 2-7,
yeah, yeah,
3. Yeah, 3-6, 4-5. I still think that's the best playoff
great.
format, and that. And what about play-ins? What is your thoughts on play-ins? Do you think the NHL should consider like what they do in the NBA?
Uh, it's a very, very long season, I think, and I just think you'd rather just keep it as is and not try to complicate things even more. It just leads to so many. I don't want to start doing like they do with the NBA, where load management and stuff like that, and it's just not my thing. Keep it as is, but I totally agree with you. 1 versus 8 would be like my preferred way of doing it. Some people suggested 1 versus 16, but I don't think you could do that with the time. With the time changes and like it's just too much to ask of these guys. The seasons are longer than ever. They're getting almost ridiculous. Like
Yeah,
I love hockey, but I shouldn't be watching playoff games in June. I'm sorry, it's not. It's just way too long, and you could see it this year. Like Florida basically broke down from playing so much hockey in the last 2 days, and they're done with probably because of that, and that's the
yeah,
big reason. I'd
yeah.
like to avoid that. I don't think that's a great thing. Um, so no, just keep it basic and the way it is now, and try to just keep it as straightforward as you can be, because or
Yeah.
else it just becomes a mess to follow
Well,
for the average fan. Like, we're maybe passionate fans, but I think you got to remember that there's a lot of average fans that just don't want to get too complicated, just want to watch games, follow the standings, and enjoy it as is.
well, I mean, fans of the like soccer in England and stuff, Premier League, and that all those leagues, and they must just scoff at first of all that 8 teams, 16 teams make the playoffs to begin with, but then like the NBA also has play-in teams like where in the in their league, in the Premier League, soccer league, the football league, I guess,
Yeah,
the, you win in the like there is no playoff. The regular season means everything, and it's just the team that wins has the most points at the end of the year wins, and then to turn around and like it's like the regular season hardly means anything when there's 16 teams and then there's also play-ins like the you know that's what the regular season's for, to decide who the top 8 teams are, not
yeah,
have a playoff on top of that
yeah,
for
yeah.
another couple teams. If you're not one of the top 8 teams, you're not good enough, and it
Right.
and it makes it exciting down. Like it's couldn't have been more exciting for 12 teams, 13 teams down the stretch here. Like
I agree.
and especially about eight of the 13, the ones between the fourth or fifth spot and the 12th spot in the standings. Just oh my goodness, 3 points separating them for the last month of the
Crazy,
season. It's fantastic.
crazy. Love
And
it.
whoever ends up making it, well, like these regular season games at the end, they're just going to be so critical. They're the play-in games, basically,
Yeah,
right?
that's great. That's a good
Really.
point.
So, win at the end when it counts. There's your play-in. Play to get in or play to lose. Uh, and as far as the 116, well, there's a travel thing, you know, traveling back and forth,
Yeah,
flying
it's too
back and
much.
forth. Um, Teams won't be as rested. The hockey won't quite be as good because of all the travel that they've got to do, the jet lag, and all that crap. Um, you save that till for the final series, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But also just the time difference where, if you're in the East and for 2 series or 3 series or 4 series, you're having to watch games, and especially when it could go 3 triple overtime or whatever. But there could be games that are ending at 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah,
in the
agreed.
East, and in Newfoundland it'd be 4 in the morning or whatever. It just you're losing a lot of your TV audience that way. I mean, I'm a diehard fan, but when there's a team, East versus West, and it goes into double overtime, and it's not my team that's playing, I'm not. I'm falling asleep before the end of the game, and right at 2 in the morning, typically, and so it just doesn't make sense given the teams that are 4,000 miles apart to be playing.
That's so true.
You could be playing. You could be an Eastern team that has to play 3 teams from California, or 4 teams from that are on the West Coast. 3 teams in the West Coast to get to the final, while there's another team in the East that's playing 100 miles down the road, 400 miles down the road. It's not fair to the team that has to, travel back and forth compared to the other team that could be playing teams that are like, a bus ride away, right? So keep it conference-wise at 1 to 8, but doesn't sound like Gary thinks that it's just perfect the way it is. So.
Oh yeah, Gary knows what's up, right?
Yeah. Oh, I just pulled out of my turkey coma. What happened? Oh, go back to sleep. Go back to sleep, Sue Slayer. Nothing to see here. Grant, that statement about the guys looking to get their buddy Cole 50 is having an effect on their play. Maybe. But again, they aren't going to be looking to get him 50 in the playoffs, right? It doesn't. I'm not too concerned about the rest of the regular season here. They're in the playoffs. Even if they finish 4th, almost might be better than playing Buffalo or Tampa. So I'm not that concerned about where they finish here in the standings, in part because they're better on the road, it seems like, this year than they are at home. So I don't know if it's the pressure, right? Page for Gallagher, what's the switches? Yeah. And we've seen it a lot in the past, Rick, guys that have been vets for teams for a lot of years that don't have it anymore. Come playoff time, you got to make the hard decisions. You got to go with the best 20. And there could be a couple vets that are sitting come game 1 of the playoff. It may not be game 1. Maybe Gally gets in for a game or 2. And if he's still struggling, and the Habs don't win, I could see Gally being by game 2, after game 2, if they're down 2-0 and he's still playing like he is, he's out. Would they start the playoffs with him out of the lineup? Maybe not. Maybe that was just a little too, maybe that was just a little too tough a decision for Murray to make. But a lot's going to depend on, how if Doc gets back in here and how he looks. If Hage gets a couple of games at the end and how he looks. If Bolduc plays okay here down the last 5 games. If Texier gets back in the lineup and he plays like he did in some of his best games there, it's going to depend what happens here in these last 5 games to a certain degree. But like if Doc comes back and he's looking good, if Hage comes in and helps the second power play and looks like he can play, Brendan Gallagher may not start the playoffs. He may be sitting game one.
And you could try to kind of soften the blow, having a talk with him and just basically letting him know, listen, this is the situation being what it is. But I think publicly we're going to talk about an injury situation, and maybe the pride thing might help a little bit. But every coach that wins, every GM that wins at some point has to make a bold decision or take a risk. And, maybe that will be the bold decision that Marty St. Louis is going to have to make at some point. And people say, how is that going to affect the locker room? Well, if you win, the locker room's happy. So at the end of the day, I've never heard of a locker room issue when a team is winning. It's only when the team doesn't win. So I think you have to do what you have to do at some point. And it's hard, but you're being paid good money to make hard decisions.
Well, and Gally, hasn't got a goal in 18 games or 19 games now.
Yeah.
I think the team wants to win more than it wants Gally in the lineup. Like,
yeah.
So at the end of the day, they would understand. Like, it's not like they're saying, well, like Gally's has 8 goals in the last 20 games of the year, and they're taking him out of the lineup. It's not like that.
No. Yeah.
So, his shifts. It's funny. I saw stats where like bursts, 20-mile-per-hour bursts and stuff like that. His skating is actually not below average, believe it or not. When it comes to his speed in like bursts, like the most bursts over 20 miles per hour this season. I've actually seen stats where it's not below average, believe it or not. Crazy. But it's it's after 15 seconds on a shift where that he doesn't have that burst anymore. Like the stamina's not there anymore, right? And it just, you see him struggling to keep up at the end of shifts, particularly. And I don't know. I think I'd be surprised if he's not in the lineup for game one of the playoffs, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's out of the lineup at some point in the first round of the series. But you know what also could happen, and it wouldn't shock me, is he's in the lineup and the little bugger ends up playing well, and he's never out of the lineup. So that's the other possibility too. You know, we've seen Brendan Gallagher has been very good at playoff time for the Montreal Canadiens when
he does
when they've been in the playoffs in the past, and it is kind of suited to his game, the playoff hockey. It's I'm not going to be emphatic making a prediction one way or the other on Gally.
You're right. I could see it happening, and boy, when we criticize him a little bit or comment out, we're never doing it like maliciously or we don't say it with happiness or glee. We grew up watching him for so long, and then we respect him so much for everything he's done. But you have to kind of be honest too and call it as it is.
Yeah. Zephyl Cave. Hey Grant, 13th beer. And you even put the comma in there in the right spot. Like, I'm impressed. Good punctuation there, Zephyl Cave. Good job. And Rick's got the pure vodka going, so that's his 6th glass. Whenever the Habs clinch, Rick drinks a 40-pounder of vodka pure, right, Rick?
I'm a Scotch man, actually, not a vodka man, but I.
No,
man.
that doesn't look like Scotch to me. I don't.
No.
I'm not a Scotch drinker, but I know that it's not clear. I know that much. Are you working tomorrow?
No, I'm not working tomorrow. Day off, so
Good.
I got some chores to do, but no actual job or stuff to do.
Yeah, right. Well, what do you want to do here? You got a few more minutes, sir?
Yeah, I'll do another 5 grand, and then I'll go back to sleep because like a lot of people, I ate way too much today.
Yeah, eh?
You know, like,
Yeah. I went back for seconds on the ham there too. It
yeah,
was pretty good. No
nice.
turkey though, so I'm not that tired. And I'm behaving. I'm only having one beer. So,
Oh, good
uh,
for you, sir. Good for you.
yeah. Well, when they get shut out, right? I try not to celebrate too much. Um, Grant, you were right about Galley. Ooh, Francois is saying I'm right about something. I might put this. I might take a screenshot of this one too. No, I'm just kidding, Francois. 72nd percentile.
It's
Ooh,
impressive.
big word. Big word, Francois. You haven't had 13 beers, I can see. 72nd percentile in the league for number of speed bursts over 20. Not bad for a guy that doesn't play a lot of minutes. 78th percentile for top speed. So, in other words, he's in the top 28% in the league for number of bursts over 20 miles
Wow.
per hour, and top 22% for top speed, which kind of shocked me actually when I saw that. And I'm wondering if the radar gun might be. I'm not sure if they're using a calendar to measure this or an actual radar gun, but there you go. What do you got to say now, Rick?
Well, I'm surprised also, and maybe the guy was holding the gun. He's the one who's at the 11th or 12th beer, maybe. But no, I think, as you mentioned, I think the stamina might be the problem. It's also winning the puck battles and getting into the position where you lose a little bit of strength as you get older, and that body's taking such a beating for the last 12 to 15 years that
Yeah,
you kind of have to consider that too, and that's part of the game. And the difficulty with a guy like Gallagher is that he's not he can't help you. Like some guys that were really good offensively could transition into a defensive role, but he can't. So it's hard to find him a role where he can't do any penalty killing or protecting a lead or anything like that. It's hard. Everybody needs a role in playoff hockey. Everybody needs a responsibility. So you don't know where to put him. And I think I read somewhere he's got like 1 goal in 22 games on the penalty on the power play this year. That's quite a lot, man. That's part of the difficulty on the second line. And I don't know what else to say about that. Right? It's. I think he understands at this point of his career that his responsibilities have changed.
yeah, yeah. And Zeffel Cave with his 13 beers in him says, Grant, your name shows as G. Is that the spot you want to reach? Well, Zeffel Cave, I'll explain why. I've shortened it to G because I noticed that, like, when I put up stats here, for instance, it would cover
Yeah.
him. And also when I put in, here's the two sponsors. When I put in my full name, it would it would cover it to a certain degree. So that's why I shortened it to G. My nickname with my midget juvenile hockey coach was G Man too. So
Oh.
there you go, G Man, because G Man was guys in the Second World War, the G Men.
Oh yeah.
The buzz saws, he said I was a little buzz saw. So anyway,
Oh, cool.
the G Man. So there you go. That explains it.
Lovely.
One burst and he's done for the shift. Yeah, pretty much. Oh, Francois got another interesting stat here. 55th percentile for skating distance, 137 miles. Again, surprising for a guy that doesn't play that much. Yeah. Yeah, well, he's spending a lot of time chasing the puck, unfortunately.
But is it also because he's chasing? That's I was gonna say that. I think it's running after the puck is a problem.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Will Gallagher be moved in the offseason? No. But those stats don't say how many times he's chasing back. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or chasing the ref after they give him a penalty. The problem with Gallagher is that his tongue drags like a Zamboni on the ice. Oh, good. I'm glad you're in at the end of his shift. Yes. Always glad when the 13 beer guys come in because it makes it a little more entertaining. Thank you, Zephyr Cave. Yes, absolutely. Positively. All right, Rick. Quickly, we'll go over the stats here while you're here.
Yes, sir.
And we'll get you out of here. I will take down the banners for a sec here. There we go. Okay, ice time tonight. Lane led again with 24. Dobson right behind him. Slav with 22. Caulfield and Suzuki. Slav, had the most ice time among the forwards and almost as much as a D-man, which is a little surprising. Demi -2, Matheson -2. What's that, Rick?
Sorry, I'm not totally surprised because there's one criticism a little bit of Slavkovsky's game that I think needs to be nipped a little bit in the bud is he drags on some shifts here and there once in a while. He's got to make quicker changes once in a while. I've noticed him in the defensive zone when they're emmed in, and I'm like, wait a minute, he should have been off by now. Not a major problem, but I would like just see work on that a little bit with him with true coaching.
Yep. Veleno 6 hits. You know what?
Wow.
I like Veleno's game tonight again. He he was setting up some plays and they put him with Galley, who hasn't scored in 18, and Deneau, who I think has 3 goals or 2 goals this year, and they're not finishing, right? And I got thinking, the way Veleno's playing right now, I'd try him with at least somebody that can finish for a couple of games and see if you can get him a couple of assists at least. Like since he's come back in the lineup, he's been one of the more consistent, certainly one of the more competitive players on the team.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I would switch things up a bit and maybe put him. Well, the thing is, like, if you put him with Evans, and it's not like the second line's full of finishers or the third line's full of finishers either. But I don't know about putting him on the second line, but yeah, I mean, what do you do there, right? It's just, but I got thinking tonight, like he made a few good like he got the puck, forechecked hard, hit, got the puck, got it to Galley and Deneau, and then the play died, And I mean, often the play dies on Veleno's stick, but lately we've been seeing a little bit more creativity from him, and I just wonder if he's gaining a bit of confidence here, and that perhaps you could try him with someone other than the 2 guys that just don't look like they're ever going to score another National Hockey League goal.
I like that idea, actually. I think it makes sense. And you got the because I think 1 year in Detroit, he scored between 10 and 15 goals. And that was the 1 year where, due to injury, they used them a lot on the wing, on the second and third line. And maybe on the wing, there's a little bit of scoring, a little bit of secondary scoring that could happen here and there. And he's been really good in the faceoff. So maybe you got that thing where you could use him also to take on his strong side draws on that second line. Again, it's not a permanent solution, but sometimes you're looking for 3 or 4 games, just a little spark to get things going, and hope that you catch fire, lightning in a bottle for a few games. until a better solution is available. So I do like that idea quite a bit, Grant. I think that might be something that could,
Yeah.
on the short term, I think it could be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Zephyl Cave, you are definitely lightening up the mood, said Kenny. Zephyl Cave, you want to come on camera? 14 beer. He just opened his 14th beer. Should get him in. You're leaving, Rick. Maybe I'll get Zephyl Cave take your spot, eh? What do you think?
That might be fun, actually. I think it'd be a heck of a fun show there.
Yeah. Well, thinking about it. Okay, Rick.
Yeah.
As always, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
Tuesday night, I'll be in touch there, and we'll see if maybe we can do this again. You're the
Absolutely,
man.
Grant. I always love doing this, and I always love the people that join in. They're just the best.
For sure. Okay, Rick, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a great day off Monday, a rare Monday off for you, and get your chores, get caught up in your chores, so you're on the wife's good list there. Okay.
Thank you, Grant, very much, and have a great rest of the day, and have a nice night, everyone.
Okay, bye, Rick.
Bye.
Rick Springhetti, folks. I can't find the camera button. I will leave soon. Thanks for the offer. Yeah, I knew I'd scare you off with that. Deneau has not been helping matters either lately. He looks tired out there most nights. Deneau, I just don't know about Bill. I just don't know. Yeah, I hear you. Theory, those 50-goal non-NHL licensed bootleg T-shirts being sold are jinxing Cole. Yeah. Yeah, maybe he should do it just to spite them, eh? What was the one guy there that the French media guy that Cole's nothing or whatever, denigrating him a year or two ago, and now he's selling Cole 50 goal shirts or whatever. Yeah, not too. I don't know. Not too impressed by that. I hope nobody's supporting him and buying these shirts off him. Bit hypocritical as far as I'm concerned. Bury a guy and then turn around and profit off of his success. It just, I don't know. That leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Joseph Felice. They played 6 games and 8 shots in the first 2 periods. They looked like a tired team. That they did. That they did indeed. Sean, I hate watching New Jersey games. They are boring, tight, checking games. Yeah. At one point, with not much time left, it was like combined they had 30 shots. Like, yeah. At the end of the day, I'm glad I did not yeah. Sorry, that screenshot, you have kind of surprised look on your face. Yeah. No, I've got a funny look on my face lots of times, but yeah, well, I was surprised that I got $100 donation. I was still couldn't believe it. It was pretty cool indeed. Since I'm caught up here, now would be a good time to do a little spiel for these boys. All right. Next level hockey. Specialists in hockey development trusted by NHL prospects, including Owen Beck, by the way, who went there. Whether you're looking to elevate your shooting, skating, stick handling, or overall game, NLH is here to take your game to the next level. Visit them at nextlevelhockey.com, and there is a hyphen between level and hockey, and follow their Instagram as you see below there, at Next Level Hockey _ for daily tips, posts, and updates. If you or someone you know have young aspiring hockey players who want to elevate their game, trust Next Level Hockey to guide them forward. Next Level Hockey. It's in the name. And thank you so much to Next Level Hockey for sponsoring me. They've helped get me through these past few months where obviously I don't have a lot of sponsorship money coming in, and Mike was so generous to agree to become a sponsor. And by the way, we have some sponsorship things available, including our draft prospect of the week, our Habs prospect of the week. I am looking for a plumber sponsor. Any plumbers out there, won't cost a lot. I want to have a plumber of the game. Any Montreal plumbers that are hockey fans, pass their name on to me. I'll get in touch with them and see if we can't get a plumber to sponsor plumber of the game. I think that would be a cool thing to have as a sponsorship. And hey, like today, for instance, the plumber of the game, the whoever plumber of the game, the blank plumbing plumber of the game, for me would have been Joe Valeno. I hope he got the fox head. It is a fox. It's not a wolf. I've been saying wolf's head, but when you look at it, that's a friggin' fox. So I hope that Joe got the fox head tonight. Don't know for sure, but I hope so. Bonachère Caves, Eganville, Ontario, about an hour from Ottawa. A privately family-owned business run by hockey fans. Big hockey fans. Great people. 613-628-2283. Eganville is the home of the McTavishes. Mason McTavish, his dad, his father played in the NHL. Great guy. Grandfather, famous coach in that region. Hockey people through and through, throughout Eganville. And that goes for Chris too, Caveman Chris, who owns Bonachère Caves. He's a huge hockey fan who's played. Hey, he's in his mid 60s to late 60s, I believe, and still plays a ton of senior hockey all the time. He's a hockey fanatic. So, hey, come May 24th, Bonachère Caves is open right through until Thanksgiving. Fantastic place to take the kids for a trip, a nice road trip, and local too, right? Like let's keep tourism in Canada here with all the stuff that's going on in the world right now, and the cost of flying and the cost to travel anywhere of any long distance. Tourism in Canada. Let's support our local businesses, and let's visit local businesses. And you won't be disappointed if you go to Bonachère Caves this summer. All right. Cappy has to be better on the faceoffs. Absolutely. He needs to be better in general. He's been in a lull here, and I'm not afraid to admit it. Grant, I will leave now. I appreciate the analysis. We clinch and looking for Cole to get his 50th. Okay, Zephyr Cave, I scared you off, eh, buddy? Thanks for keeping us entertained there while there was a bit of a lull from others. Appreciate it. With cap raising in the next couple of years, should the Habs take a chance on Elias Pettersson in the summer? James, I would say no. Not a Patterson fan. Pettersson, sorry. No. I would avoid him for sure. not the answer at all. They need some grit and size and physicality down the middle. That's not Pettersson, and also not a great teammate. Not very competitive. Very selfish from all the reports. I'm avoiding. Don't think he fits in the dressing room. Don't think he fits in their needs. Wouldn't be pursuing him in the off season. The PK is now up to 22nd, 20th in net PK, quite on the rise in the last 3 weeks. Well, Veleno's been part of that too, right? He's playing well on the PK. Galley's been skating similar to the way I ran during my delirious dreams. The feet are moving, the body isn't traveling far. Yeah? Is that one of your delirious dreams there that in your avatar? Okay, you take care. Oh, D-Man, terrible coaching. Nothing to cheer about, too soft and small. Is this Elaine Bennis or what's with the friggin' what's with all the exclamation points here, D-Man? Thanks, Kent. What's the use of stockpiling picks if you don't make moves to get some size? Exclamation mark, exclamation point. Double. Playoffs. Ha, ha, ha. Short and sweet. All right, D-Man. Thank you. Thank you for cheering us up, buddy. D-Man. Wow, after one loss. Yep. Terrible coaching. Gallagher also said he's finished. MSL should have put this 50 nonsense. All right, buddy. That's you're entitled to your opinion. Oh, you obviously have not been watching. Oh, well, you apparently you know it all, D-Man. So we won't argue with you, buddy. Thanks for coming in and venting. Don, thanks again for the $10 donation. You've been superb with the support. It's weird. We seem to be going up on viewership here. We're up to 73. It had been around 40 to 50 most of the night. Is this the first summer where Hughes will have legitimate pressure to add to the team's significant win now piece? Yeah, I think they typically make moves at the draft, I find. You might see something go down. Hey, from what I've heard, they had a big deal in place and they didn't get it in time. So maybe they revisit that at the draft, right? But we'll see what happens with we'll see what happens in the playoffs too. That will have a bearing on exactly what they do here. If as D-Man is informing us they're too soft and they'll be gone like that, then they probably look to make a move or two in the summer. And if not, well, then just keep building. But yeah, I think it'll obviously depend on what they do in the playoffs. If they win the Stanley Cup, I don't think they'll make a bunch of moves. Probably not winning the Cup, but I guess I need glasses also, yes. Pair of those rose-colored ones like I've got, yeah. Team looks tired, so this is expected after such a road trip. Hudson for Byfield straight up. Okay, D-Man, now you're just getting ridiculous. You know that Byfield's soft as butter, right? He's 6'5" and he plays like he's 5'8". Hudson's 5'9" and he plays like he's 6'2". So that to you is a solution because he's tall. You haven't been watching, buddy. If you think that friggin' Byfield is a solution, soft as friggin' butter. So would you like to see Veleno extended and come back as his bottom six penalty killer? Well, he's got grit. Just can never get any points, man. The avatar was me bungee jumping in Wakefield, Quebec. Yeah. At Morrison's Quarry. They still got them. Do they still have the bungee jumping at Morrison's Quarry? Or I used to live in Wakefield, Quebec. So the Gatineau Hills played in the outdoor full contact outdoor hockey league, the last one in Canada. You only got kicked out of the game if you got in 3 fights. You were allowed to fight 3 times, and then you got the boots. It was extreme hockey. -40 Venasta in a farmer's field with no trees for miles. The wind, -40, -45 wind chill, and then when you're on a breakaway, add another 5 degrees to that. I used to, my bushy mustache would be just one big icicle. Fun times. Those were the days. I think it's a good time to inject some Laval players. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. D-Man, he's been doing a terrible job lately. Yeah, I know. 8-game winning streak. The best record in the past 10 games. He's been horrible, for sure, D-Man. Yeah, absolutely. I was about to agree to say I agree Galley shouldn't be on the power play, but that doesn't mean Habs coaching is terrible. Yeah. And yeah, he's definitely alone on the Hudson Byfield trade. I would like to see something similar this summer. Yeah. Something similar to what? The Kings win that deal. No kidding. Quentin Byfield, come on. That'd be a joke of a trade. He lacks creativity. I mean, we saw this in his draft year, and it's only more apparent now. He doesn't see the ice very well. He's very limited. He's never going to be a big assist man. He doesn't necessarily go to the hard areas. Hudson does. It's not always about your size. And Quentin Byfield is soft for his size. He really is. So they're not making that trade in a million years. Dobson trade, you're right. Would like to see something similar to the Dobson trade. Yeah. Win now, but also a similar age to the core. Yeah. Yep. That's for sure. By the way, folks, if you don't mind, hit the like button. I'd really appreciate that. Donnie McCaskill, you still with us? You got anything to weigh in on here? D-Man for Leafs GM. Yeah, they can get Byfield. Nyes and Matthews for Byfield. He's the answer for whatever team gets him. So yeah. Right on, D-Man. Thanks again. Did Zeffel Cave just change his name, username? He tagged off to another guy that's had 14 pints. Oh, Well, I think I don't think much constructive is happening here. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, D-man. I know what you're saying about their. Okay, well, D-man. Bye bye. When you start telling people to shut up because you're an idiot, see you later. And the macho, like, oh, not tough enough, soft trade huts, whatever. Bit of a wild card production, but can you see D-man? You can keep posting if you want, man. They aren't showing up, so you're wasting your time. Bit of a wild projection, but can you see the Hudson brothers finishing top 10 in NHL points scored by a pair of brothers? Top 10. Well, sure, frick. It might finish top 3, and they're them being defensemen. But hey, Cole's basically a point per game defenseman as in his second year. Cole looks like he's going to get plenty of points too. Did you see the moves that he made with the puck there? Was pretty cool. So yeah, definitely. Top 10 for sure. Won't get more points than Wayne Gretzky and brother Keith, Brett Hull and brother and brother did he have a brother that played a game? No, Bobby Hull and his brother Dennis, Henri Richard and his brother Maurice, Phil Esposito and his brother Tony. Hey, you got assists, right? When you combine the two, they're up there. The top 2 Sutter brothers, obviously. The Sedin brothers would have got a lot of points. So, the top 2 Bentleys, Conikers, the Mahavliches, obviously. So through the years, there have been some half decent point totals put up by brothers. So maybe not, but as far as and the Hughes, obviously the Hughes brothers, the top 2. The Lindroses. I'm just seeing if Wayne and Brent Gretzky combined for 2,861 points. Brent got 4 of those. The Stastnys, of course. Yeah. The Sedins are the second highest scoring pair of brothers. I didn't know that. And of course, the Berets, the Hatchers, the Sutter clan, of course, Stasnys, the Conikers, the Mahavliches, the Espos, and the Richards. So yeah, it's some good brother combinations through the years in the NHL, that's for sure. And okay, what is this? 500 what? 500 CZK. Thanks, James. I mean, that excited me for a minute, but what What is CZK, if you don't mind me asking? All 7 of them. Yeah. Well, he did ask. He did ask all 7. He did say 2. Czech crowns. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Do you have any idea what that would be in Canadian or? $32 Canadian. 32.74. Holy frig! That's fantastic. That's $32.74. Thank you. Made my day. That goes along cool with my $100 donation that I got the other day. Listen, a lot of people have tomorrow off. Do you want to go for a while longer here, folks? Or, I mean, I always feel a little bit more obligated when somebody is so generous as to do that. But if you do, I will. I only got 1 beer, and I probably need to get another one. James, you want to chat for a keep doing the great work, most level-headed person in Habs media. Okay, man. I really appreciate that. Where are you, by the way? If you don't mind me asking. Are you related to Dobie? So, what's the scoop here, folks? Do you want to chat for a bit longer? If you do, I'll grab another pint. You're from Prague. Wow. Yeah, it is beautiful architecture. It's got to be what, 3, 4 in the morning there. 5. How long have you been a Habs fan? And James isn't a real common name for 5:38 a.m. Okay. Oh, wow. That's truly appreciated, James. I appreciate that a lot. Okay, I'm not getting anyone weighing in here. Do you want to keep chatting, guys? Did D-Man scare you off, or do you like to see Delano extended and come back as a bottom 6? Again, getting back to that, that's maybe. I mean, it wouldn't cost much, right? You could do it for $1 million, right? I mean, I think it's time to inject some Laval players. Yeah, VZ, I think yeah. I'd like to see Reinbach come up, play a game. Engstrom will probably get in one. He's been since Plekanec. Okay, that makes sense. Habs fan since Plekanec, eh? Right on. That's pretty cool. George Saros. Sarosi. Okay, close. I think they ran out of gas tonight. Would you sit anyone? I was waiting for James' response on when he started following the Habs. Makes sense with Plekanec. Yeah, I know. No, it's not James that I feel obliged necessarily. I just I have a lot of fun doing this, actually. I wouldn't mind going on for a bit longer if folks are sticking around. I mean, tomorrow's a holiday, right? I would have to go get another beer. You don't have to. Yeah, I felt obliged after watching every single video for past couple of months. Okay, man, that's great to hear. You know, I don't know. I've got decent numbers. I had over 100,000 views last month, and that's the first time I've cracked 100,000. So, it's slowly building, but you don't know, you know, what people think of it, and that's why I like these live shows and the interaction with people, because you find this stuff out, right? And you find out where people are viewing it from too. And I mean, it's I feels great that there are people in at 5 o'clock in the morning in Czechia tuning in to watch me. Like, I mean, it's humbling for me. So, and then on top of that, to send some cash, it's truly appreciated, uh, big time. So, um, yeah, thanks, James. I really appreciate it. Likes didn't feel sufficient. uh, Dennis Hull, always great speaker. Oh man, he is. Uh, all right, we got one guy that said he'll stay up. Ken, you're one of the best guys to banter with, anyways. So you know what? People that are listening and not watching are probably gonna tune out for this, but I'm gonna go get another beer, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes. If you're a Molson rep watching this, get in touch. I need you to sponsor me. I'm supporting you. Time for you to support me. Cheers, everyone. Happy Easter for another 17 minutes here in the Eastern time zone of Canada. James, are you from Czechia originally? I'm still wide awake. Good, me too. What would your 5 players and roles on power play 2? Still see Dobson there over Matheson. Yeah, well, somebody wanted Dobson on the first power play. My 5 players, eh? Huh. Well, Probably Hage, Cappy, Doc, Bolduc, Dobson. Hage, Cappy, yeah, Doc, Bolduc. So a couple of guys that can, that can handle the puck, good puck protection skills. A couple of guys, decent shot. Dobson with a decent shot. Matheson, yeah, I know what you're saying. He's not doing a lot on there, but it does harken back to the fact that they don't really have puck protection, playmaking guy on the power play, and I think that would help Dobson if they did. So that would be my 5, I think, that I'd be looking at. Who are some candidates to win NHL rookie scoring race next season? Jeez, I don't know. Next year, eh? As far as winning the Calder Trophy, I think Fowler will be in the mix. It'll depend whether he wins the starting job, I guess. But you got to think Fowler will be a candidate. Maybe Hage. But I'm not really sure who all is going to be coming in next year, right? It'll depend on who, like 2025 NHL draft. Let's see here. Frondell be solid next year. Martone, maybe Higgins. They'll all be decent candidates next year, I think. Maybe Denmoyer if he's ready. The usual suspects. I don't know if Cole Eisenman will be coming in. Aginla, if he gets a shot in Utah, perhaps. Those are a few names that just from looking at the past 2 drafts, right? They'd have to be candidates. I don't know if Nashville will bring Surin over or not. He's a decent prospect out of Russia if he's ready. Yeah, those are a few names. I'd have to look. Those questions kind of catch me off guard. I always like to research. Second power play does need a change. I don't know if it needs a total overhaul, though. Yeah. I really started following from the Slavkovsky drama. My favorite player right now. Oh, yeah? No bitter rivalry between Czechia and Slovakia. Well, it did used to be Czechoslovakia, right? So seems like Matheson always ignores the obvious open man to his right. Yeah, I know. He ignored Caulfield in the first period, and you could see Caulfield remind him on the bench after the play. He used to ignore Slav, and it drove me crazy. Slav would be over there with his stick ready to go and keep passing it to the left. It's funny that you say Caulfield because it used to be that he just passed it to Caulfield on the left all the time, but just can't seem to. Yeah, you're right. The blinders on when it comes to the right side. I like your avatar there with Arbor and Reeves with the his most famous opening fight there. It got everybody excited about him. Yeah, I don't know if they need an overhaul. I feel like the Habs media is just too reactionary. Whenever I come here, you're not tearing down the whole team after losing one game. Breath of fresh air. Thanks, James. No, and fans are pretty passionate. Habs fans, they can get a little crazy, and some of the media too. No, hey, even I get worked up about certain things at times too. It's the passion of being a fervent Habs fan. But thanks, James. I appreciate the compliment. There's some Habs fans that react the same way, though. Yeah, I would rather for the first power play 2 minutes right now. Well, I'd like to see they did play 2 minutes on one or two of them tonight. Right now, I'd like to see Cole playing the entire 2 minutes. Cole, after 2 minutes on the power play, is still more effective than Galley. I'd keep Galley on the bench and keep Cole out there for the 2 minutes. Twitter is something else after Habs lost. The Twitter, yes. Twitch. I'm originally from Slovakia, but moved to Czechia. Okay. Okay. Satek is kind of, yeah, I could see that. Caulfield looks like he had a bit of the yips tonight. Relax, kid, it's going to come. Yeah. Well, he doesn't usually have the yips, so. Hey, exciting times, right? And the crowd was buzzing. Hey, Grant, I'm pumped. Oshawa got the first overall pick. Wonder who they will take. Oh, did they? Did they have the OHL lottery? Well, that big American kid, right? He might get exceptional draft status. The huge defenseman. It's playing Toronto. Hey, how many times has Oshawa ended up with the stud, right? Lindros, Tavares. They've had Bobby Orr obviously back in the day. Yeah, that's pretty cool. OHL tonight. Were there any games? Barrie beaten Niagara, so they're in. North Bay over Peterborough. So they're, yeah, North Bay is playing. Okay. Well, that'll be, I'm going to get to a couple of games. Ottawa next round. I got to get out to some OHL playoff hockey. It's always good stuff. Ottawa will be playing Barrie, I do believe. Do they not have this? They still don't have the next round matchups there, but it should be Barrie and Bradford to be playing. Yeah, they don't seem to have it schedule out yet. All right. Pickford just keeps scoring. It's pretty cool, eh? Had another goal yesterday. And Medicine Hat's off to the second round. Edmonton beat Saskatoon. Series tied 3-3. And it went into overtime, too. Double overtime. Edmonton having their hands full with Saskatoon. That's a great series, man. It was in Saskatoon. That was their opportunity. I think Edmonton will probably pull it off now. What a friggin' series that is turning out to be. Prince George beats Spokane 5-3. They win the series 4-2. Carson Carroll's another couple of assists. He's a beauty. I love Carroll's. I wish Montreal had a chance of getting him. But they might have to settle for Seamus Ignatavicius. Remember that name, folks. He's a beast. St. Louis, Colorado tied 2-2. Rangers beat Capitals 8-1. Somebody was posted earlier that like Cooley had a fight in points and good player. Yeah, it'd be nice in Montreal, but you know what? They're not trading him. I know Trevor liked Cooley quite a bit in his draft year too. What have the Blues done here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-2 in their last 7. 5-1-1 in their last 7. And if they beat Colorado 6-1-1, they're might have left it just a little too late. It's funny, eh? They trade away Shen. Just goes to show you, you know, making deals at the deadline don't always mean squat, right? You can sell at the deadline and improve as a team. You can buy at the deadline, sink. Like Philly, what? They got rid of Delorier, got rid of Delorier, and they can hardly lose now. Like they didn't buy at the deadline. You know, St. Louis sells, and they're on a heater. Islanders buy, and they had to fire their coach because they're on a losing skid. So, yeah, St. Louis is 77 points. It's tough. It's going to be tough for them. But if they do win tonight, they're at 79 and 2 points out. So it's going to come down to the wire. Both conferences for the 2 wild cards. He seems a bit affected by the whole 50 goals narrative. Hey, he's Cole has scored 25 goals in his last 25 games or something like that. You know, just about every game. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt for you know, not popping one tonight. This team being so young, I think they press at times. Yeah, I think so too. What was a Habs hockey trade that devastated you the most while growing up? O-line, yeah. Habs hockey trade. Well, I mean, when you know, the Hool years, when guys weren't gonna stick around and re-sign, and they had to trade them off, like Vinny Danfus. That just to me was a sign. Okay, this team players don't want to come here now. They're, you know, it was no longer a palatable place, not only for free agents but for players that played there, it was very disappointing. Vinny Danfus, as far as I'm concerned, was one of the, he had a run with the Habs where he was one of the best players in the league, like just all around great player. And, wasn't going to resign, or they didn't think they could resign him, trade him at the friggin' deadline. And it was a sign of just the chaos that was in Montreal at that point, right? Vinny didn't have a great year as last year in Montreal, but I mean, their top scorer was Mark Recchi with 47 points. Saku had 44, Vinny 36 in 65 games. Like, it was just it was such a low point. And it wasn't like they had a terrible team. Like, Recchi, Koivu, Damfus, Ruchinski, Malikov, Corson, Brunet, Quintal, Savage. There were some Brisebois. There were some decent players. Craig Rivet. They just were struggling. And the trades that were made didn't really help the team a whole hell of a lot. It was a dark period. They were making lousy draft picks, and Vinny wanted the hell out. I mean, today, look at the difference, right? Do any of the top players want out? No. They're signing freaking long term. They love it. Like, it's a completely different atmosphere now. It helps when you've got like stable management, right? And a promising young team. That one just sticks out in my mind as a trade that because of the implications that players just didn't want to stick around anymore. I mean, they got a first round pick from it, okay, but they were crapping out on their freaking picks at the time anyway. They got a first and a second. Marc-Andre and a fifth round pick for Vinny. And Rejaul strode up to the podium and with that 16th pick and announced Marian Hossa that they drafted. He was wishing that Marcel Hossa would be the next Marian Hossa, but as we all know, that didn't transpire, right? That one just quickly off the top of my head. What other trades disappointed me? Well, I was a Pierre LaRouche fan, so when they dealt him for I wasn't too crazy about that at the time, but I would say the John LeClair trade, but honestly, Mark Recchi was like 115 point scorer in his prime. I didn't hate that trade at the time as much as I would, learn to hate it later on. And similar with the Langway trade, I didn't necessarily hate it at the time. And Rick Green and Ryan Walter helped the Habs win a cup. So ultimately, they won one more cup than Langway did, right? And like the LaRouche deal, Hartford, they swapped first round picks, and the Hartford got Sylvain Cote. They also got a third round pick, which ended up being Bruce Racine, goaltender, and the Habs got the fifth overall pick, which was Peter Svoboda, second round pick, which is Brian Benning, third round pick Rocky Dundas. Svoboda became a pretty damn good NHL defenseman, and I don't know if you're still on here, James, but that was quite a scene at the time, smuggling him from Czechoslovakia in the trunk of a car and bringing him onto the stage, and kind of, even though we'd had hints that it was going to be happening, it was still a pretty dramatic thing at the time. Bringing the somebody that was in a communist country, bringing him into to the draft, a defector, right? It was very dramatic at the time. Deadline deals haven't really helped Detroit and New York. No, Detroit's another one, right? I don't know. Do you guys think Yzerman's in trouble here? I think so. Minnesota might not be done as early as some had hoped. Well, no, they were expected to win the first round. They were 2 seed playing the 7th seed, so it's the next round. But I see what you're maybe saying. Like, they were the 3rd seed playing the 6th seed, or the 2, and Edmonton 3rd seed playing 6th. But you're saying like they may not lose to Edmonton. Yeah, that's true. Edmonton may not even win that series. So, yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I've been thinking, like, my thought is that they play Prince Albert in the Eastern Final, so they get 3 rounds, and then probably lose to Prince Albert. They haven't beaten them all year, if I recall correctly. Matthew Grant become the Habs GM in like 10 years. Yeah. I don't know. Of course, they are hiring a few 70-somethings to be GMs. Jimmy Rutherford, Don Waddell. There's a few of them around there. Kenny Holland's got to be in the 70s now, or down close to it. Don't be counting on it. Do you think McKenna will do well next year if he plays from the start? Yeah. Maybe. Maybe he's in the running to for the Calder. I hadn't looked at this year's group, but yeah, maybe McKenna and Stenberg. Schmitz might even play next year. Be solid. I like, again, somewhat of a chip off the old block. Yeah. Not sure if you'd seen my comments earlier in the evening. Porter Martone made a lot of friends. I might have missed that one, but yeah. Scored the OT winner. Paula shots in his first 3 games in the NHL. This Caulfield situation reminds me a bit of Matthew's 70-goal hunt. Just hope Cole gets it done. Deadline deals really haven't helped Detroit. Yeah. The thing is here, Ken, that they don't get the Laval playoffs don't start for at least a couple more weeks, right? something like that. Big week coming up, though. Hage playing in the semis and then the finals. That'll be fun if he makes it. Big week for Michigan, right? Basketball and hockey. If you're ever in Oshawa, let me know. I'd like to meet you, brother. Okay. Yeah, next time I'm going out to a Generals game or whatever, definitely I'll let you know. Imagine how Shen and Falk, I guess, would feel if Blues make the playoffs. Islanders in Detroit don't. Blues would have made the greatest trade ever, acquiring 2 first rounds picks around 15 and 16. Yeah. Yeah, that trade, Armstrong's last hurrah, right? Swan song. Might turn out to look pretty smart. The Blues can trade for a Dobson. There you go. I was thinking that 15, 16, that sounds familiar. Those are the picks that Montreal had last year. Exactly. Now imagine if one of those picks wins the lottery and ends up being number 6. Yeah, that's why careful with those first round picks, eh? At the deadline. Montreal, when's the last time, has Montreal ever traded a first round pick at the trade deadline? A lot of second round picks and stuff through the years, but have they ever traded a first at the deadline? Like Kovalev cost them a second, right? Vanek was a second, was he not? That's not something that the Habs have done too often in history, if ever, have they? Traded first round picks at the deadline. A lot of teams do. It's not been something in the Habs DNA, right? Patrick Roy trade, Denny Savard trade. Yeah, no, I mean, you could name a bunch, and the Patrick Roy trade I did not like. They should have Poole should have held off there, and the Chelios trade too. But there were extenuating circumstances with Jelly. There was off ice stuff going on, right? Stuff going on between the president's wife and Jelly, I think, and yeah. So, but yeah. No, Montreal was not passing on Wickenheiser. There's not a team in the league that was passing on Doug Wickenheiser. Absolutely not. They just ruined them. Like in hindsight, they should have picked Savard, and who knows? Denny Savard goes to Montreal. He could have ended up like Doug Wickenheiser. He wouldn't have been in the lineup opening night. I can guarantee you that. And it could have screwed up his personality and his character just like it did Wickenheiser. So, but definitely, obviously, the Patrick Roy trade, that's an obvious one for sure. I mean, like, what was the rush? First of all, you let cooler heads prevail, and you hope, just say, look, we're not trading you, and Patty finally, okay, come back, or you admit you made a friggin' mistake on Tremblay, and replace him was that one other option. But no, you stick to your guns and you don't settle for Marty Rachinsky and Andrei Kovalenko. No draft picks, and you get, if you had to make the trade for sure, you get high end guys. You don't make the trade unless you get Ricci and a first-round pick, and there are 2 first-round picks in addition to, it just, it didn't make sense. Maybe even involve a third team, right? I mean, it was fairly common knowledge that Thibault, wasn't going to be a great goalie at that point. Yeah, he had been a 10th overall pick, but, Will thought, oh, well, he was 10th overall pick. He must be good. Well, no, he's not that good. And settling for Ruchinski and friggin', like, they couldn't even get Deadmarsh. Like, it had to be minimum, or Nolan, just dark days in Montreal's history when they fired Demers and Serge 4 games into the year after going 0-4. What they do, and Ronald Corey pressing the panic button. Hey, I know what to do. I'll bring in a GM that's been a Molson rep, and he'll hire all former Habs that never coached a game in their life. That's the plan here. Crazy. And them having won a cup a couple of years before. Like, really? Did you get a chance to watch the Max Comtois video? Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yeah. See why Max, remember, there's an example of a guy going into his draft year. He killed penalties at the Ivan Holinka that summer, looked really good. I had him top 10. Just about everybody had him top 10 on their draft list going into the draft year. And then you put the microscope on these guys, and ooh, no. He went from being like 7-6 on people's draft list to the end of the second round, and that's where he got drafted. Ends up in the freaking Russia, and they hate him there. Yeah. Shame that Schaefer's on a mediocre team, both short and long term. When you're that good, your team's not going to be mediocre, I don't think, for long. Hey, their pick was good. Eklund's good. Aitchison's going to be a good defenseman. Prokhorov, loved that pick by. I've kept my eyes on Prokhorov this year. Still wish he would have been a Hab. Yes, even over friggin' Zhuravsky. He's going to be a power forward that just is a menace. They'll likely have another. They've got a good draft group. I think when you've got that franchise piece, teams rarely remain mediocre. I think the Islanders, it might take a couple of years here, but they'll. I'm impressed with the job Darsh has done so far, and that includes having the temerity to fire a French Canadian legend, and him being a French Canadian himself, with a few games left in the season. The guy's got chutzpah, put it that way. Can't recall the last time Montreal traded a first at the deadline. Yeah, I don't know that they ever have. They've never gone all in at the deadline, no matter who the GM was at the time. No, I don't think so. The Liam interview with Terry Ryan was really interesting. Yeah, well, he rambled a little bit long on his background. And once he got to the main story, though, uh, it ended up being a long show, eh? But his comments about Therrien in particular were, you know, uh, hour and a half into the interview or whatever, were good for sure. Yeah, I liked, I liked the, and I've heard lots of, Therrien stories. You know, um, sitting there and smoking a whole cigarette from him, not saying a word, and then tell him to get the fuck out. Like, yeah, different. His comments about Therrien were awesome. Yeah. Halak for Eller. Yeah. That, they got, I think they got a lot more flack for that than what it turned out was justified. Like, I can remember, like Pierre McGuire just vilifying the Habs. And again, Pierre had hidden agenda. I thought at the time, maybe I'm wrong, but to be the Habs GM, and it just seemed like he criticized every move that was made Montreal at the time. But um, it should have been Berglund or whatever, or they should have got, was it Fabry, or anyways, thought that they should have got another prospect other than Eller. And as it turned out, like, Eller ended up being just as good at NHLer as any of these other prospects that were supposedly way better, right? That the Habs should have got instead. And it's not like Halak. I mean, Halak, solid NHL goalie, but not a superstar. I don't think. You know, like, did he ever have a better year than the one where he had the run with Montreal in the playoffs? I'm just Alexander Steen. Yeah, Patrick Berglund. Oh, they should have got Patrick Berglund instead. Da da da. But I liked Eller. I thought he had a lot of potential, and turned out into be. He's still playing in the friggin' league. And still a useful center. Like, where's Patrick Berglund? Like, he's been out of the league since 2018-19, right? His high for he had 52 points in 1 year in St. Louis, and that was it. But he wasn't the two-way center that Eller turned out to be. So, I mean, turning around and trading Eller for 2 seconds, I don't know. But, I mean, I wouldn't put that at the top of my list of trades that bothered me, especially when they happened. I thought, like I say, I thought it was overblown by people critiquing their return and saying, "Oh, they could have got Berglund instead." Lars Ellers had a better NHL career than Berglund ever did, my opinion. I just recalled Islanders traded Colorado's first round pick, not theirs, so they'll be fine. Yeah. What a long podcast, almost as long as your trade deadline special. What are you doing still up, man? Do you work you work the graveyard shift or what? Can't remember the Habs giving up a first at the trade deadline. However, I'm sure most must have begged um, Bergevin not to give up a first for Dwight King and Steve Ott. Oh my God. Get me started on that. There was just another example of where they screwed around with draft prospects. Here you've got this 6'7", 6'6" center who they put him in the lineup, they'd sit him out, they put him in fourth line role, 8 minutes, sit him out, jerk him around, never, let him get confident at the NHL level, play him a bit down the stretch going into the playoffs, and he was starting to find his game and, built for playoff hockey, 6'7", tough guy, first round pick, and, had a bottom line role, and I was looking forward to seeing him in the playoffs, playing a bottom line role, a good experience. You want to develop your first round picks. Like, in theory, right? You trust your scouting staff. You trust that the guys they pick are, give them a fair shot at winning NHL jobs. Don't push against the scouting staff. No, well, no, we're not. We're going to go with Dwight King instead, or Martinson. So Martinson, King, and Ott play instead of Michael McCarron, and none of them were better at the time. In fact, they were useless. And McCarron sits in the frickin' stands. And again, just like with Doug Wick, and I could name a friggin' 50 players that the Habs have ruined through the years that were high picks that they just screw with their heads, and McCarron just deflated, right? And never got the fair opportunity. I swear, like, I'm positive to this day, would have been effective for the Habs in that playoff, would have built his confidence, would have came back the next year, regular season, been a regular, and built from there, become a bottom six, tough, physical center for the Montreal Canadiens. And no, they had to, they had to play these mind games, and they had to pick up journeymen instead to play, because they're vets and the coaches love vets, and it just pissed me off to no end that they didn't work together. And that's one of the things I like so much about the current staff, right? Reinbacher plays freaking big minutes, and they draft him while he plays big minutes. High draft picks, they go to the minors, they play important roles. They don't get friggin' sat in those stands and this and that, put up on the wing like Josh Brook, a second round pick that was really good in junior and just got completely bamboozled at the AHL level, put up on the wing, wrecks his knee, and is never the same player. Sure, back even, they jerked him around for 3 years. Maybe he'd never make it, but they didn't help. He starts the season tearing up the American Hockey League. Not a better player on the power play in the entire American Hockey League. First round pick, was averaging an assist a game to start the year, and nobody in the AHL had done that 20 years, and was just awesome on the power play in the AHL. They call him up. Conservative Claude, sits him in the stands, plays him on the fourth line, doesn't play him on the power play, and Montreal had no offensive players at the time. Like, certainly none on the second unit. Like it was Byron Fraze probably was on it, or like it was just a joke. And Sherback, no, you get fourth line, you get 6 minutes, you don't get any power play time, even though you were the best AHL power play guy that Montreal had in their system in years. Like couldn't recall the best one that was more effective, but no, no. Hey, you were only a first round pick, and we have no offense. But no, we're gonna jerk you around, and you know, Julian would get interviewed about it. So, well, he doesn't win puck battles. Oh, okay, but could you not try him on the power play when you don't really, puck battles aren't really what it are the most important thing on a power play. Like set him up on the left wall, get him the puck, let him quarterback your power play, get points, build his confidence, work on the rest of his game as he goes along. No, they sat him in the stands for 6 straight games and bring him in, play him a game on the fourth line, 6 minutes, and then it just ruined the kid. He just was never the same, could never get his footing, and went back over to Russia in a year, got traded to LA, and he was, he had no confidence, and, Tenorti got jerked around, traded way too, like you're a 6'7" defenseman. It takes time. You got to be patient, but they weren't, and they trade him, jerk him around. His dad justifiably got pissed off with how he was handled. These are first round picks. You take the time to develop them properly. You give them priority to be developed properly. You give them time in the minors, like prime time, because the scouting staff projected that these guys would be good NHLers. And so you trust your scouting staff. You don't, bring in coaches that are going to say, oh, no, I don't like that guy. Oh, no, I don't like that guy. Sign guys that I had in Quebec Junior, that weren't even drafted in the NHL, and play them instead, right? I want to win. I don't want to develop players. I want to win so I can keep my job. It was just completely opposite of what the team is doing now, where they nurture high draft picks. They don't destroy their confidence. They give them prime opportunities in the minor leagues. The coaching staff, first and foremost, it's about developing players, not, that's the most important thing. And when they do get called up, they look good because they've been given fair opportunity to develop, fair ice time. They aren't jerked around by the coach and not played and sat in the stands in them, like, because it happened with high picks, with Bouchard and Lefebvre, was it? And, like, it just, poor coaches being hired, ones that didn't, everyone's got to be on the same page in the organization. The management, the scouts, the minor league coaches, and also Bergevin didn't hire a development coach, a skills coach, right? I mean, what did the new staff do? They freaking hired the best in the league, Nicholas, and everybody just touts how great work he does with them, and work with these guys in the summer. They all come to Montreal in the summer. Their confidence is built up. Their game is improved. The time is taken to develop these guys properly, unlike under the Bergevin regime, where it was just All right, Jocelyn players. Oh, whatever. Let's trade them away in a couple of years. Oh, they're no good. That attitude. It's wrong. It was completely wrong. Bergevin could make a good trade. He was good at. He was good. For the most part, made good trades. Except again, giving up too early on a high draft pick in Sergachev and trading him for a French Canadian and then turning him into a center when that was just stupid. But anyway, Thomas ended up with the hat trick. Black brought us to the conference final. What did Eller do? Okay. Well, what did Halak do after that? And Eller was not a fourth line player. He was a middle line center, and for I don't know 10 years. Now he's a fourth line center on good teams, but was he not a huge part of Washington winning a cup? Halak never won a cup. Eller helped Washington win a cup, was a huge piece of it. I have time off from work tomorrow, but I should go to sleep now. Yes, you should. And thank you for the 500 Czech crowns, James. Appreciate you hanging in there, buddy. And I hope to see more of you. Don't be a stranger on here, okay? Lose 1-3-2, Thomas with the hat trick. One at the end of the third. Wow. Still remember Halak Game 7, Washington. I was at the Them Crooked Vultures concert. Grohl and J.P. Jones rolled out a TV at the start of the third, walked off, and made the crowd watch the game. Okay. That's pretty cool. I take it was in Montreal. They were saying, oh, Montreal cannot do a rebuild, and we're a borderline team for so many years. Yeah, that didn't help Jonathan, that's for sure. LA was never flashy, but he had an extremely long career playing plenty of playoff games. He was money in the playoffs. You know that year when he got hit by Gryba? You know who the best player on the Habs had been up until that point in that series, and it wasn't even close, was Eller. And it turned the series around. Well, not around, but that was it. Eller was excellent at playoff time. He really was. He had 13 points for the Habs in 17 games on that long run in 2013-14. The next year, 12 playoff games. But if you remember 2013-14, 13 points in 7 games in the playoffs for the Habs. He was the best. He was the best forward on the team. He ended up top 20 in scoring that playoff year. Best forward on the team. Him and PK, best players in that run to the third round. If you recall, Eller was excellent. Not a fourth liner whatsoever in that series. No. And then when Washington won the cup, he had 7 goals, 11 assists, 18 points in the playoffs, and killing penalties. One of the best freaking centers, best checking centers in the league. Finished 13th in scoring in that playoff year. Top 13 in the NHL in playoff scoring on a cup winner. He was a huge part of that team. He was the second on the team in 3, 4, yeah, fifth on the team among forwards in scoring, while playing a fantastic two-way center role on their third line, behind Backstrom and Kuznetsov, who were fantastic centers. Lars Eller was in his prime, was a hell of a hockey player. This pod blows sick crap out of the water. Oh yeah? Okay. Appreciate that, my friend. SYNR8888. You know what? That's nice to hear. Thank you. I haven't watched a sick podcast since I left the crew, but that I appreciate that. That makes my day. That, along with getting 500 Czech crowns from a viewer that's watching at 5 o'clock in the morning in Czechia. That's pretty cool. Okay. Well, I have now been on for 2:49. It's 12:40 in the morning. Can't believe, Kenny, you stayed the whole time, buddy. Thank you. I have fun, so I don't consider this work. Any more comments? I'm down to my last sip here, so I'm gonna probably pack it in here. Couple of minutes. I'll do up since tomorrow is holiday and there'll be a lot of people presumably online. I'll do something tomorrow, or later today. Is there a prospect anybody would like to see a video on? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Excuse me. Please hit the like button if you haven't. I don't suspect I'm anywhere close to 100 likes at this point. I didn't ask people to hit the like button yesterday. Seems like you have to ask. And asked quite a bit the night before, and we had like 130 people like it. And then last night, or the Saft, had 4,000 people, and we couldn't even get up to 100 likes, so that was kind of funny. There are so many extreme chatters on there. Tony hardly ever interacts with the chatters. Yeah. Is Protz with Laval now? No. Brantford, second round. I don't think we're going to be seeing Protz anytime soon. Brantford could go to the Memorial Cup. Eller's board play and puck retrieval skills were excellent. He made for a great third line center, but the media set expectations on him to be a number 2. Well, you know what? On the Habs, he could have been a number 2 all day. I think he was, for a few years there, but when they put that rookie line together, Gallagher, Eller, and Galchenyuk, they should have kept those 3 together. I thought it was a solid line. And of course, once they were good, so they, better break them up, right? Desharnais did not help you win games more than Lars Eller. But Desharnais, he was the Terrien's golden child, right? Lars Eller was the best third line center in the league the year that Washington won the cup. That is such a valuable piece. The 5th top scorer on the team, and that also playing a defensive role, kill penalties like that. He was one of the 7 or 8 most valuable players on a cup winner. That's, on the Montreal Canadiens, that's second line center all day in that era. Again, a guy that got traded away for 2 second-round picks. I wouldn't have done that, but still in the OHL playoffs. Yes, it's not even the Tony show; it's the Pierre show now. Oh. Did not expect to come back and see the stream still going this late after a loss. Hope everyone has a good night. They've clinched Samurai Night. I was over the loss before the game was even over. All right, glad you checked back in. Hit the like button, Samurai, please. Thank you. When was the last time you did a scouting report on Florian? Yeah. Well, I did one, but hasn't been... can't remember when it was, maybe a couple months ago, but Florian, eh? Yeah. I'll take it under consideration. I don't necessarily like to most people watch the Laval games, so but okay. I have done scouting videos on Florian, but I will definitely take that under consideration. Thank you. We still have 53 people tuning in. You know what? I'm going to wrap this up before I hit 3 hours. My beer's done. Nature's calling. Let my puppy dog out. I hit the like button before the game started. Yeah. Glad that we clinched. This team is going to be a blast to watch in the playoffs. See? You had a little time to think about it. Yeah, I like Beck better too. Maybe I should do one on Beck. I'd like to see more of the Jack Anderson sandwich hits in the playoffs. Yeah, that was good. And on Jack Hughes too. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not the biggest Jack Hughes fan right now for several reasons. Okay. I'm going to keep this under 3 hours. I'm going to hit the end stream button. And no, Jack-Eye was part of that hit. It was Jack-Eye and Balduke, actually. And Anderson came in later, I do believe. But Jack-Eye was part of it. And then Balduke, they went after Balduke. And then Andy came in. All right, guys. Later, Gator. Okay. Again, thanks for the compliment. Thank you for hanging in, folks. Have a great night. Almost 1 a.m. here. Get a good sleep. I'll do a video tomorrow at some point. Tomorrow being today. All right. Have a good night.